Hi everyone, I'm Kevin Kopp and welcome to a socially distanced interview with our Temple Field Hockey coaching staff. We've got beautiful weather. We're here on Howarth Field. We should be in the middle of Temple Field Hockey season right now. It almost feels cruel that we're not. So let me start there with now 6 months into everyone's world being upended by this pandemic, what life is like for you as coaches right now and what life is like for your team.
It's been very different each month that we've kind of gone through this. Obviously through the summer, trying to keep them motivated, getting them back, going on a little bit of a pause has been really unique for both them and us. Recruiting, as you know, the dead period is extended through January, so sorting that out behind the scenes has been really interesting for us as a staff. And then obviously getting them back out on the pitch and starting with all the COVID protocol, safety protocol has been just another element that we're trying to work through. So with all that, you know, our student athletes are doing the best that they can academically. We have obviously a great support staff, and our eyes are just set on February when we're able to have our first match. So we're pretty excited for it and just working day at a time.
Well, I'm sure as coaches you feel the same way that your student athletes do, which is that the games are kind of the payoff for all the hard work that you put in. And now it's been 6 straight months of really all hard work and no payoff. I'm sure that forces you to kind of go back to basics and think about kind of the why of what it is you do. And so I'm just curious to hear from each of you as you've now kind of been able to process all of these changes, kind of what that's like and maybe your relationship with coaching as a whole now that the game part of it has been taken away from you.
Yeah, it is. I think when you actually look at it and the way that we have been able to in the last 6 months, it does make you think a little bit further about why we do this. Motivating our student athletes and our ladies over the last 6 months has almost been, it's hard but easy, right? So as you say, yeah, the reward is playing games. So when you break that down and actually think about the amount of times that we play games in a year, it's super limited. So for us, being able to motivate them by what our practices are, that's 90% of what we do throughout a year. So for us and for them, it's been focusing on our small process goals through practices. And then I think we've just kind of brought it back to why we do this. And I'll be totally honest, we've had to think about that and talk about it many times in the last 6 months. And I think it's evolved into, I get to be around this really strong staff who we get to show them and demonstrate for them what it means to be a strong woman in athletics, in our world. And to bring that to them, yes, it's wins. We want to win games. We want to have growth in both directions. But it's giving them something that when they leave here, they can kind of continue that moving forward. And that's why we work hard every single day, so that when they leave, they can bring that into their next endeavor.
I would say, I always just love the sport. I love coaching the sport and teaching. So I think as that's evolved, my why is inspiring young athletes to be the best person and athlete they can be. I just love to teach, develop what anything to these athletes. And as long as I've made a mark on them, looking back, then I know that I've done a good job.
I like to develop their athletic, their academic, their character potential. I want them to be good contributors to society when they leave here. I think about my life as a whole, and much of my personal experience and learned experience and applied experience has gone into why I coach and how I interact and how I engage. And I think I, like Carissa and like Susan, want to make a mark on their life and have them look back and think they were challenged, but they were loved and rewarded. And they look back on this in a really positive but challenging time in their life.
I think you all have touched on the idea of balancing the on-field and the off-field aspects of coaching and character development. It feels like we're kind of at some dual moments of reckoning right now, both as a country as a whole and the NCAA structure and college sports and college athletics and higher education. There's a lot going on right now in society. Do you think that your players, that your prospective student athletes are paying more attention, that the things away from the game and the relationship that they're having with coaches is now so much different than anything that you would have encountered before in your career as players?
Absolutely. Our ladies, our student athletes are just phenomenal. They have really set the bar with being good people first. So whether it's at hockey, whether it's in other elements on campus, in our community, within the nation, all of these other pieces, there's so many areas that they feel comfortable having a voice. And that has been really, really important for us, is that we give them a solid foundation to feel comfortable doing it. But they drive those conversations, and we're there, and we just add our input. But allowing them to have that place, I think, is really important, and it's something we've tried to do a good job of. We're not perfect. We're figuring it out as we go. I think we talk about it quite often. We're like, how do you think today went? I think it sucked. So we're really finding our areas where we're actually developing and growing. So even in the last year and a half, because our student athletes are so special, we've grown tremendously as coaches and as people. So, and that's a large part of because of who they are, both at hockey, in the community, academically, and just within the nation. I think we're going to have some people go on to do really special things.
I'm wondering about your relationship between the three of you. Obviously, you're trying to navigate this dynamic as well as your players are, and you've got this staff together, but you're not able to coach in the traditional way that you're all accustomed to. So what has this done for the three of you this time?
We hate each other.
No, I think actually,
I was like, I think we're closer than ever.
I think, well, really, Susan's kind of laid the groundwork for this space of psychological safety, right? Where we're all developing, where we all share ideas, where we all feel that our voice is really important to the conversation. And I think in general, because the foundation has been set to engage uncomfortably in these conversations and really figure out how to best make use of the time that we are allotted in order to get these incremental gains to push forward for building the foundation for Temple Field Hockey.
We have to think outside the box, what can constantly drive this culture we're trying to build, but also have it be fun and competitive, but bring the team together, a lot of team bonding activities, even as we're through Zoom and probably hating our computers at this time.
When you're doing Zoom trivia, who is the trivia MVP on this group?
In terms of
Carissa always creates it.
Yeah, Carissa.
Carissa's the most creative, probably, the creative mind of the three of us in terms of.
Yeah, and she's really good at thinking of fun things for them to do. But we've had some trivia fails. We are not game show hosts, so we've had some fails, to be honest.
I would have been fired multiple times if I was a kid.
We try to make it as fun as possible, and I think our mistakes might bring even more fun.
Yeah, I think the trivia night, my one answer where I was like, okay, this is the winning point. This is it. And I ended up pressing enter too soon, and the winning point was, blast it out on Zoom, and it was. That
was our parent game night, so all the parents were on.
So just the biggest audience possible for this.
The biggest, most influential audience, yes. And
we nailed it.
I failed.
And that's where it's really fun for us. I mean, we challenge each other in terms of what we're thinking, whether it be drills, games. Prospective student athletes, we are always challenging each other, and that is really important to us to teach our ladies that you can challenge each other, you can think differently. We all think a little bit differently. That's why we created this staff. But you can have fun when you're being competitive, and that's really important to us.
Suze, we're really lucky too.
Oh, that was sweet.
Susan, I think the last time that you and I spoke was just a couple weeks into all of this when we were still getting adjusted. And I said, one of the things, if I were in your position, I love all of the optimism and the excitement. I am frustrated for you because this was such a jumping off point, I felt like, for this program. You came in last year, you had this tremendous turnaround from 2 wins to 7. Now you've got a chance, you get your staff in, you have a full recruiting cycle. It's like all this momentum is building toward this fall and it gets taken away from you. And so how are you dealing with that? I'm sure your players feel the same way. I'm sure your returners feel like, okay, this is the moment we're going to get to put it all together. You're doing a good job fooling me at least, but I imagine there has to be some, I just wish we were able to see all these results out on the field right now.
Every day, of course. We talk about it often, but this is the hand we've been dealt. A lot of programs have been dealt this hand. Of course, we continue to ask questions within the department, our team. How can we be better? How can we still create that development? Which for us, where I bring it back to, and we have these discussions as a group, is big picture. We want to leave this legacy after we're gone, after our student athletes are gone, years down the road, to who Temple Field Hockey is. So yes, I would love to be playing. I am frustrated, right? I would be lying if I didn't say that wasn't something that hurts us as a group, hurts our student athletes that we're not playing right now. But we are focused on the bigger picture. And that's something that kind of brings us back to, okay, who do we want to be? What legacy do we want to leave? And this time right now is going to make it even better when we get to our official year 2, whenever that may be.
What does 2021 look like for Temple field hockey? Leaving outside the potential for snow to be plowed all around the edges of the field, that part of it aside, what does this 2021 season look like in your minds when you allow yourself to think about maybe some of the payoff from all of this work?
Honestly, where we bring it back to is we get all this time to develop, and we get to bring it back in January, when we'll come back, start training, start playing in February, non-conference games, and Big East in March. So right now it's getting back into who we are as a program, what defines a Temple field hockey player, and making sure that we're bringing that every single day. So in terms of 2021, both seasons, we're really excited to see what our ladies are able to do, because we're really pushing their tactical knowledge, pushing them in terms of their fitness, and I think they're going to be really special.
I think it's going to be really exciting. I think all of this time kind of stepping away and being removed of the game competition piece of it, I think will create a really hungry, very excited group of student athletes that want very much to take advantage of the opportunity that's given to them. And I think that's a very powerful thing. So we are very excited. I'm very excited.
All of the uncertainty, all of the chaos and the tumult that we've talked about, I think it's really clear from getting the chance to talk to each of you that there is a plan and a method, and I just, for myself, I can't wait to see what the first 2021 season looks like, and then the second one. I think it's going to be a really exciting calendar year for Temple field hockey, and I thank you all for your time and everything that you're doing behind the scenes.
We thank you. Go Owls!
Thank you.
Go Owls.